We're in Roxbury, Connecticut. We're on a really cool property. They're gutting the entire house and they're going to do it completely brand new. Now, the biggest concern is what to do with the crawl space. It was a disaster. It was a mess. There was mold, mildew, and tons of debris and garbage, big boulders and stones. So what we're doing is we're going to completely clean it, disinfect it, sanitize it, removing all of the debris, and we're going to fill it up around the footing with stone, and then we're going to put our Supercrete product over top of the stone onto the footing and up against the wall. So it's going to be structurally sound, but with our completely waterproof Supercrete product, it's going to turn that crawl space into a really usable, viable storage area. And it's a significant size space too. So it's going to add to this house and I think really top off the whole project. We're in the main living space of the house. You can see it's a really nice size space. Everything underneath here is the crawl space we're working on. So you can see the size of the crawl space, which we're going to look into in a second, is formidable. Adding that to make it bone dry is going to add a whole lot to this entire house. We only have one floor, so being able to salvage that crawl space is a really big deal. Not only that, but crawl spaces are notorious for putting off gases and smells and things like that. We're completely eliminating all of that from occurring in this area, the entire first floor, single floor, I should say, living area. About to go underneath. I'm going to show you how the stone works as drainage, and we set up our flow channel so any water coming in underneath the wall will channel down into our drainage and then be able to work its way to a sump pump and then pump up and out away from the house. But you can see here, this is all stone. This was probably down about that far. We filled it entirely to the top of the footing with stone, and now we set up a vapor barrier with our flow channel, and then we're going to pour our Supercrete on top of it so it goes across all the stone and vapor barrier up against, on top of and up against the flow channel to a full 4 inches, code compliant 4 inches of concrete, and we're going to be covering the entire crawl space with that. And our Supercrete product, once again, is waterproof. It's a waterproof cement barrier. So it's going to dry this whole area out completely. We're going to get rid of any kind of smells that normally come out of crawl spaces and turn it into really usable storage space. So we've done a lot of work down here. When we first came in, this is the top of the footing right here. It was down like this with dirt up over parts of it throughout the entire crawl space, and then tons of boulders and all kinds of debris and rotted, had that dank, nasty crawl space kind of smell. Now we've completely cleaned it out. What you see is a whole bed of about 6 to 8 inches of stone, because that's kind of the variation there was in the flow of the ground. So we brought it up, leveled it off so stone is right up to the top of the footing, and now we're all ready to do our Supercrete product. But this is a great setup. Took an awful lot of work to get it to where we are now. This property, it's a complete gut out. They actually took everything out. I'm talking the well pump and everything. No running water, so we have nothing to clean our cement pump after we're finished putting all the Supercrete in. We have a pond here, but we also have a running brook in the back, and the water's crystal clear. We hooked up one of our sump pumps to a garden hose, and we filled up a couple dozen buckets of really clean water out of the brook. Once the cement trucks come, those large cones, with our special mix in there, he has to clean his truck out with the hose that he brings. The truck actually has a hose built right into it that has a really good pressure on it. If he runs out of water, he's more than happy to let us use his hose, but if he doesn't have water, it's no good to us. So that's why we had to get a whole source of water up there. So we set up our pumping system so that we're going to be able to refill him up. When he's done cleaning his machine, the big cone truck, we're going to be able to clean our Supercrete pumping machine and then you know, the couple hundred feet of concrete line that's we've been pumping the Supercrete in with, and you have to do that under pressure. So we've got it all set. It was kind of a challenge, but we got a little ingenious on how to get the water up there and take care of a problem that could have really been a game stop. As the construction continues upstairs, we've completely finished down here. We've got our Supercrete product, which is concrete that can't absorb water, has no porosity to it. So we've sealed the floor. We do a similar treatment to the walls where we apply what's called our super slurry. It has the same crystalline ingredient that eliminates the porosity in our Supercrete for the floor. But when we apply this on, it's the consistency of like a heavy cream. But it has this crystal internal membrane in the concrete itself. Applied to the walls, it grows into the walls. It actually crystallizes through the concrete walls from the inside to the outside and removes all the porosity of the existing concrete. When it does that, it makes the concrete unable to absorb any water. So it turns it into a waterproof cement barrier and makes it completely dry. Also strengthens the wall as it does and repairs a good bit of the damage that walls that have been sitting in the ground with water and soil absorbing into them for a long time, causing different levels of deterioration. It eliminates a lot of that, but the overall effect is completely dry walls, completely dry floor to turn an area this large in a one-story dwelling completely dry. The difference upstairs is enormous. Now, you got to remember our drainage is underneath your floor on the inside, so we've completely eliminated any pressure hydrostatically from coming up and pushing on the bottom of your floor. Drop the water table on the outside, eliminate the water underneath your floor so you have no hydrostatic pressure. You've solved the entire problem. You've gotten rid of the stresses that cause a foundation to not only deteriorate, but even can crack and break and cause structural issues. So your foundation is a lot more sound with the proper waterproofing system that manages what we call that false water table that builds up around your foundation underneath your floor. Take care of those two issues, you've solved your entire water problem and you're going to have an extremely dry basement. So, if you've liked the video, why don't you hit the like button for me and also subscribe. And I hope you enjoy our future videos. And until then, enjoy your dry basement and crawl space.